Michelle Major, the author of over 30 contemporary romances, and I am thrilled to be here on Inside for Indies, and I would like to invite you into my office space. So please come this way. And the reason we are starting where we did is because I get to walk from my house down the patio and into my home office, which is a very, very special thing, especially in 2020 when everybody is at home a lot more. So we are here in the mountains of Colorado, and I will say I'm not a Colorado native. I have lived here for about 25 years, moved out with my brand spanking new journalism degree from Ohio back in the early 90s, and like most writers, wasn't exactly an extrovert, although I was determined to live near the mountains. So when I got to Denver, my first community was at the Tattered Cover bookstore, which was also my first love as far as independent bookstores. I would spend hours at the Tattered Cover on their multi-floors, just combing the aisles and going to book signings and book events, and it was a great way to feel like I was part of the community before I really was. So to me, that's one of the things that's most special about independent bookstores, is not just being able to buy the books we love, but also that sense of community they bring to a neighborhood, which is more important than ever right now. So before I tell you a little bit more about my books, let me give you a brief tour of the office. I do have some four-legged co-workers, which are always with me. This is Sam and Sage. They are super helpful as far as inspiration, or at least pet therapy, which is always a good thing. So, okay, we're gonna start with the one part of my office that I never use, which is the exercise bike. So my office is actually a multi-use space for our family. We have a TV out here to watch movies, but when we moved to this house, which was about 6 years ago, I was pretty new to the publishing world, and my husband said, you're gonna need your own space away from the house. And so part of why we bought this home that ended up being an enormous fixer-upper was to get me an office, which we did. One of the best things about my office that I would love to show you is my view. It is a view that is Cheyenne Mountain. It's a view I never tire of, no matter what time of year. Another thing that I have that's special to me is the desk, and this desk was actually original to the house, at least to the people we bought it from, who had lived here about 40 years, and we made it. We just thought, again, if this was going to be my office, my husband, who's a very sweet man, maybe why I write romance, but he said, you know, this is going to be your desk. I see you writing here, and that's what I do now. So most recently, I am celebrating the release of The Merriest Magnolia, which is the second book in my Magnolia Sisters series. It is, I like to describe what I do as sweet with a little bit of sexy romance in it. These books also sort of border the women's fiction genre. There are 3 sisters in the series that come together because of an inheritance in a small town, and they really have to figure out how to transform their lives and transform their town, which is something I had a great time exploring. You can see here in the back is my inspiration board. So when I'm working on a series, which right now I'm on book 5 of the book set in Magnolia, North Carolina. So I'm very visual with what I do with my writing. So I picture scenes, and so I picture characters. So I love the inspiration board when I'm writing, because I can just look up and see my characters and how I envision them, and they again are just kind of with me during the day. I'm also working on a Christmas book right now, and so I always have a little Christmas tree going, little nod to the holidays. In this corner, I have my bookshelf with my very favorite books, both craft and fiction, that I come back to over and over again. So let's talk a little bit more about the independent bookstores that I love. So right now in Colorado, I'm in Colorado Springs, and there are a couple local bookstores here that I'd love to give a shout out to, and that is in downtown Colorado Springs, we have Poor Richard's, which meant a lot to me when my kids were younger, because they have a bookstore, they have a cafe, they have a toy store, they have fantastic pizza if you are in the mood for that. So it was great to be able to go there with my kids, and they were happy and I was happy in a bookstore. And then right in my neighborhood, there's also a bookstore called Books for You, which now that my kids are a little bit older, if they need a book from high school, they're a great resource to just be able to call, and they know the neighborhood, they know the teachers. And so that's what I love about independent bookstores, is that they, really pitch in and become part of the community. Two fabulous romance bookstores, romance-centric bookstores, are Love Sweet Arrow in Chicago and the Rip Bodice out of California, Los Angeles. And again, I feel lucky. I'm an avid romance reader. I feel lucky to be a romance author. It's a fantastic community. And so I love to see these bookstores that support these women's voices and own voices authors really getting support themselves, especially during this time. So I encourage you, when you are doing your holiday shopping or gift giving, if you need a little trinket or a book or a gift card, think about your local bookstores, because we definitely want them to be here long after 2020. So thank you again for being part of my tour of my office. I'm gonna get back to work, so thank you. See you soon.